The highlight of our week is when we talk to our favourite person in the world, none other than the wonderful Megyn Kelly, who's still radiant, still amazing because she's living a brand new world in Trump's America. Rockstar, lovely to see you.
It's great to be here. I'm still riding high.
Yeah, me too. Now, we saw over the past couple of days that a major decision was made to escalate things in Ukraine, where US missiles can now be used. They have been used to fire into Russia. Russia turns around and says, well, we now reserve the right to drop a nuke in response. But Joe's missing in the jungle. Kamala's buggered off to Hawaii. The White House has got a gone fishing sign on it, and no one seems to care.
It's really terrifying, and it's really irresponsible. And I really don't think, we didn't even want to confirm a Supreme Court justice nominated by an outgoing president. Why should an outgoing president be allowed to start World War III and then pass the baton to the incoming? They give security briefings to the incoming president at this point. He should be involved at a minimum in the decision making here, because he's the one who's going to have to deal with this. Trump, not Biden. I mean, Biden can't be reached by anybody. Not even Jill, I'm sure, at this point. So it's really scary. And of all times to escalate, and for what point? Yes, okay, they're arguing over like one last piece of territory that maybe won't be Putin's and that Zelensky can withhold. At this point, it's not worth it, given the stakes that we are looking at here. People seem to forget that they are a nuclear power. Putin can be angered. He does not want a nuclear war with the United States, but we continue to proceed as though it's not at least a risk.
But also, there's only supposed to, of course, be one president at one time, but it absolutely feels like Trump, UK or Australia style, won an election and is president the next day. Truth is, of course, he's not there till January the 20th. But you see it in the celebrations of Trump, the references to Trump. You even saw it in the way world leaders basically didn't even care if the American president was there for a photo. I get it. He's not going to resign. There's not about to be a change anytime before January 20. But does it say something again about those fundamental failures of the up themselves media, that they don't see this as a problem, that they're too busy internally focused on who may or may not be with Trump in January?
I just think it's habit. They're so used to ignoring Biden and ignoring his frailty because it was important to them for, reasons that we know, that they've got another 2 months to see that through. And they really do believe on the Dem side in governing by committee. I think Jake Sullivan is the secret president, the national security advisor. And so they think he's got this and we don't really need to worry about Joe Biden, the actual commander in chief. I mean, what's really terrifying is, what if he dies? Like, what if that Nimrod has to see us through these next 8 weeks because Joe Biden actually dies in office? I mean, honestly, like, God forbid. But I don't know just how sick he is. I don't know exactly at any point where he is. And I don't know even if he's present, whether he's really all there. But he still has the nuclear codes, and there's no way of accelerating Trump's swear-in date. So now we have, I don't know how many presidents. We've got the sitting president, and we got his lady-in-waiting who could become president if he were to check out in some way. Then we've got the actual president-elect. But then we've got the Jake Sullivans of the world who are sort of president. I mean, it's really not an ideal situation. And what it means is right now we're in a position where we're showing the world our belly, and we really don't want to be belly up when it comes to Vladimir Putin, who's assembled, quite the trifecta of our enemies over there to say we're the great Satan.
Yeah, and if you have to compare Biden to Putin, I'm pretty sure Putin has the better abs when it comes to the belly at the moment. Anyway, now let's get to, and certainly Trump, very fleshy in the belly, but he knows plenty of UFC fighters, so I think that's how it balances out. Now, we're going to spend months talking about whether or not the people that Trump is picking for his cabinet will get confirmed or not. And I love getting into the detail, but there is something I wanted to get to about this whole process before we get into the names, right? There are two people in particular, the person that he wants to become the Attorney General, Matt Gaetz, and the person he wants to become Secretary of Defence, Pete Hegseth. Now, they're hardcore MAGA people, and that's why the left hate them. But the way they're trying to come at these two guys to say they couldn't possibly serve is because of their personal lives. Hegseth is on his third marriage and clearly was a pants man in between each of those times. The same when it comes to Matt Gaetz. But also, when we go back to, say, the Doug Emhoff stuff that was playing out during the election, I don't think America cares about sex the way that it used to, and I don't think that sex in your personal life is anywhere near as disqualifying as it was 10 years ago. What do you reckon?
Did you say he was a pants man?
He's a pants man.
What does that mean?
Well, it's a pants man who means often he enjoys not wearing them. The only place that his pants look better are on the floor.
Doesn't that make him like a boxer's man? I don't understand.
No.
I'm not sure that I'm following.
It means that he may lay with company. How do I say it?
He's a mad rooter. Pants. He should be no pants.
Yeah, a mad rooter is what we say in Australia. So ironically, even though you don't need pants for the activity, you are referred to as a pants man if you are a person who has been with many, dare I say.
This is thrilling. I learn something new about your beautiful culture every time I come on. All right. So indeed, a pants man. I agree. That is how it looks. That won't ruin Hegseth's nomination or his confirmation. The fact that he's on marriage number 3, and I think he's on family number 3. He started kids with all of them. I mean, it's not ideal. I like Pete. I'm not gonna pretend it's ideal. I'm on marriage number 2, but I didn't have kids in my first marriage. Anyway, whatever, no judgment, but I'm just saying this kind of thing could come back to haunt him a bit. However, it's not that. It's the fact that now they're saying there's a woman accusing him of raping her, and this was not vetted with the Trump campaign, that Pete did not disclose it to them, and they did not know about it because it was just between Pete and this woman. But to be honest, Paul, this whole story smells to high heaven. The police investigated her claim. They did not bring charges. He was at some event. She was like his handler because he was a speaker. She's seen on videotape, according to Pete's lawyer, bringing him back to his hotel room as his handler. He's obviously visibly intoxicated, according to the tapes, and she's smiling and not drunk. They go inside. She comes out 8 or 9 hours later, and she claims the whole night got very hazy, as though she'd been given a date rape drug. That's the obvious implication. And realizes, oh my God, I think I got raped. She's got to go home to her husband and children who are down the hall in the same hotel. Sure, her family was staying in the same hotel. And the alternative version is she willingly went back to the Fox News star's hotel room with him. She willingly engaged in a sexual encounter. She fell asleep, stayed the night with him, and woke up with a moment and came up with a story to sell to the husband about how she'd been raped. Pete's lawyer says he remembers her saying, oh my God, my husband, and I'm just going to tell him I fell asleep on the couch of a girlfriend who's here with me tonight. My biggest question on it is, she says she went for a rape kit the next day. Where is the positive drug test for the date rape drug? Where is a drug test that says she was given Rohypnol? Because that's the key of her whole story. She remembers nothing except vaguely a rape, and the other 9 hours are a blur, and she went to rape crisis the next day. Where's the drug test? I think if there were one, she would have mentioned it. It would have been in the police report, which it wasn't. The police declined to bring charges, and this man's career should not be ruined over this unsubstantiated allegation.